I have a beautiful, colorful, slimline butterfly card for you today. Hey everyone, it's Joy here and welcome to my channel. I will be using Reinkers, Distress Oxide Reinkers for my colorful card today. I am using Spun Sugar, Picked Raspberry, Spiced Marmalade, Squeezed Lemonade, Cracked Pistachio, Peacock Feathers, and Wilted Violet. I am also using Tim Holtz Stampers Anonymous Watercolor. These are these beautiful butterflies, and I have the coordinating dies from Simon Says Stamp. So I have my I'm using Bristol Smooth watercolor cardstock. This is a slimline card base. It measures 8.25 by 3.25. I am going to be using a little bit of each reinker on my surface. I have a wide paintbrush. I dip it in some clean water, dip it in the reinker that's on my surface, and I'm just painting a stripe. And I started in the center with the Squeezed Lemonade, and then I'm just going to work out in each direction. This does not need to be perfect. I don't care that the colors blend a little bit and overlap where they touch. I'm just eyeballing how wide each thing is, or each stripe, not thing. And it turned out really, really nice. So I have Spun Sugar, Picked Raspberry, Spiced Marmalade, Squeezed Lemonade in the center. Then I just did Cracked Pistachio. I will do Peacock Feathers and then Wilted Violet. This is so easy and so pretty to do. I love that I had these reinkers, and to paint with them is so much fun. And when they dry, you have variations of color in there because you're not using a ton of water. So some areas the ink is thicker and some areas the ink is thinner. The think? That's not even a thing. So let's finish with that Wilted Violet. I did put that aside to dry. Once it's dry, I am coming in with a little bit of liquid glue. This is Artis liquid glue from scrapbook.com, and we are going to use gold leaf. That stuff that's so paper thin, and my air was on and I was hoping it wasn't going to blow it all over my craft room. And I'm going to let that I don't want to let this glue dry. There is specific glue for the gold leaf. I don't have any. So what I did is I put down a layer, and as you can see, I didn't make a nice straight line. I let parts of my glue kind of lift and not cover the whole area. So you can see I have open areas. I want that look. I don't want this nice, beautiful straight line. So while it's wet, I'm going to adhere that gold leaf down, and I'm going to set this aside to dry. I want that glue to dry with the gold leaf. It worked perfectly, and then we will clean this up in just a little bit. But while it's drying, we can work on our beautiful butterflies from Tim Holtz. So my thought was I want to ink these butterflies up with the same color of Distress Oxide inks that I used for the reinkers. Each butterfly is going to have two colors, because the way they're going to sit on this background is they're going to overlap the colors. So like Spun Sugar and Picked Raspberry, and then Picked Raspberry and Spiced Marmalade, and so on. So nothing crazy. It doesn't have to be crazy, but all of my butterflies are going to be kind of on an angle. So that's how I'm thinking about inking them up. I did just start by inking this whole butterflies here with the Spun Sugar because it was so light, and then I came back in with the Picked Raspberry and added some color, and then you can just kind of go and add it where you need it to till you get nice, good stamped images. These butterflies are stunning. So the bottom of the card and the top of the card is going to have two of the same color. So that's why I did two Spun Sugars and Picked Raspberry. And then the top will have two Peacock Feathers and Wilted Violet, because as you'll see when we add these butterflies to it, the bottom and the top has an extra butterfly that kind of hangs off the card. So it makes sense to have two. The rest of them don't have that. The rest of them will just be one each. So This one here is picked raspberry spiced marmalade, and then the second one will be spiced marmalade and squeezed lemonade, if that makes sense. So let's ink these up. So that's the picked raspberry, the spiced marmalade. This one is spiced marmalade and squeezed lemonade. I love these butterflies. They are so stunning. And I'm just going to clean those up because of course we'll repeat some of these butterflies. So this next one will be squeezed lemonade and cracked pistachio. And I'm just looking at my card panel that I inked up and just kind of imagining how my butterflies are going to go. And there is that cracked pistachio. Then the next one will be cracked pistachio and peacock feathers. Let's clean this one off. A little bit of water, and I have a microfiber cloth. Okay, so this one will be the pistachio, or the cracked pistachio and peacock feathers. And as you can see, I'm kind of just doing these inkings on an angle, not like half and half, bottom and top, because again, they're going to be kind of wonky and on an angle on my background. Then the next two, and in different order, because one of them, the butterfly at the bottom, needs to have the peacock feathers and the wilted violet at the top. And then the other one will have wilted violet at the bottom and peacock feathers at the top. And you'll see when I go to lay this out why that makes sense if you're not understanding it right now with the layout. Look at these colors. Look at how colorful this is. I love this card so much. It is one of my most favorite cards I've ever made. I just think it's so much fun with all of this color and then these beautiful butterflies. Now I want some filler butterflies. So after I'm done here, I'm going to get some vellum out, and then I'm using a white StazOn ink. You could also do white embossing powder, but I didn't want to do that. So I'm using this white StazOn ink. I re-inked it. So you guys are going to see here, it's super juicy. It is way too juicy. So I stamped, and when I picked up, the vellum kind of slid and smeared. So I had to redo it. I did not re-ink it again because there was so much ink on it that it was kind of like second generation inking, but it looks like first generation because it was so inked up. I put entirely too much ink on my pad. I just apparently wasn't paying full attention. Here are those coordinating dies you can get through Simon Says Stamp. I'm going to die cut all of my butterflies, all my colorful ones, and all of my white ones on the vellum. I'm just going to tape those in place with some low tack tape and then run this through the die cut machine. And then we have tons of these gorgeous, beautiful butterflies. Okay, now that our background is dry, I'm taking a soft brush and I am gently, gently, gently buffing the excess of this gold leaf off. And it's only going to stick where you have the glue. I did not want a crazy amount. I do have nice thin lines, but you can see I have some open gaps, which is what I personally was looking for. But look at how stunning this is. I've been wanting to use some gold leaf on cards, and I'm so glad I was able to use it here. It just adds a little something extra. Okay, so I have bent my butterflies a little bit with my hands. I am adding liquid glue basically to the centers where their bodies are. So you can see here at the bottom that I have the two pinks at the bottom, and then I have the two like purple and turquoise at the top. That's why I have two each of those. And then these other guys are just, you know, single butterflies kind of matching up with the colored stripes up there, adhering them down, and they're just making this nice little curved path on my card. Then we have the vellum butterflies that I'm just going to kind of tuck in and around places. I don't have any reason other than it looks good here and looks good there, but it just fills it up without it looking too busy and adds just this extra amount of butterflies. I love how this turned out. I'm so glad I added these vellum butterflies because I was really kind of debating on it. I am changing out some of the butterflies so maybe you don't have the same ones next to each other. But look at how stunning that is. And I will just glue those down in the same way because you're not going to see the glue if I have it hidden behind the body. I'm just making sure that everything looks good. And then I can just slide that into place. Look at how pretty this is. I love this so much. Now you can see kind of in the center where that yellow is. I did want to leave that open because that is the center of our card, and that's where I'm going to want to put our sentiment. And it's just, this is just going to be a happy birthday card because it's so colorful. But this really could be a get well card too, I guess, because it is so colorful. So we're going to use some Honeybee Stamps Celebrating You stamp and coordinating dies. It says happy birthday. I'm just inking that up with black ink because I think that'll be a nice pop on this background. And I am using the coordinating die for this. And of course, I want it to have dimension, so I'm going to add some foam adhesive behind my sentiment, if I can get it unhooked from the background there. And then we can put this in place. And then of course I have to finish it. I also need to remove the release paper, but I have to finish it with some gold foil confetti from Studio Katya. You guys know this is my favorite stuff ever. You guys are probably sick of me using it, but I love it so much. And I just wanted to have a scattering of these kind of all over the background. Adds a little something extra, a little extra shiny that goes along with that gold leaf that we added. And then I can put those in place using some Bearly Art glue and my Pick Pro tool. And the reason why I used the artist glue for the foil was because it had a wider tip. So that's the only reason why I used that instead of the Bearly Art. And it's a really excellent glue. But look at this. Look at how stunning those butterflies are. The vellum ones, that rainbow looking, even though it's not rainbow, but that colorful background. I love this card. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments. Thank you so very much for stopping by and watching. I hope that you enjoyed this project and I hope you feel inspired. I hope you guys have a wonderful day.